doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to Live with Rye Friends on Broadway. I see we have some new faces. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Rye Myers. How's everyone's week been?
Amazing.
Good. Well, so happy to have you back. As always, I'm Rye Myers. I'm your Broadway and Entertainment BFF, and I'm so thrilled to be here. We've got a great show for you tonight. Our guest is absolutely incredible, and you're going to hear from him, and he's going to perform. It's going to be freaking incredible. But listen, as always, just some fun things to go over. Remember to tip your bartender, the fabulous Meg, who's behind the bar. Tip her, show her some love. For those of you out there who are watching it at home, welcome on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's so great to see all of you. If you're watching, send some love. Make sure you comment, leave a love, a little heart, whatever, and show me that you're watching. And finally, for those of you out there, and even for you watching, I want to hear from you throughout the show. Take pictures, post them on social media, tag me at Rye_Myers, R-Y-E, Rye with an E, like Liza with a Z, as I say, and use hashtag Live with Rye. So excited, as I said, we've been doing the show since September, and it's incredible. So, has anyone seen a show over the last week and a half? Has anyone seen anything good?
I saw Laura Strong last night.
Company.
You saw Come From Away?
Yes.
When did you see that?
Oh gosh.
No,
Yesterday was
the date and time.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Have you seen it before?
No, it was my first time.
What did you think?
I thought it was absolutely incredible.
Isn't it?
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's my favorite musical of all time of recent era.
Okay.
I've seen it like 5 times, and it is the best.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad you loved it. And the best part is there's no intermission, so it's like you can get it done in like 90 minutes.
I didn't see it, but I auditioned for it.
Oh, well, you have to see it. You have to see it.
I do have to see it.
How did you like Company? You-
Yeah, company. I mean, so innovative.
Right.
What they're doing with just like the lighting design, the set design, the direction is absolutely incredible. So like.
That's what I
see
get.
it with this cast.
And everyone was there when you saw it, or was
Yes.
there? Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. That's exciting. I just saw Come From Away like a week ago for like it's so exciting. Company was great. A funny story, I don't know for those of you, I've told this before, but I was actually at the reopening night of Company. It was the last time that I was in the same room as Stephen Sondheim, and then unfortunately we lost him 2 weeks later. So kind of it was super like sort of special because it was I mean I didn't see him because I was all the way up in the last row of the mezzanine, but he was there. And just to be in the same presence as him, and then 2 weeks later lose him. But I was at the first preview prior to COVID, and he was there, and I stood 3 feet from him at the after party as he talked to everyone. So that was pretty cool. So a special Sondheim moment. As always, doing some Broadway news. Some interesting things this week. First off, Broadway grosses have unfortunately fallen again. Last week it was the second lowest on record for the season. 16.5 million was what they did for the week. I know that sounds like a lot, but for those watching, for those in the audience, that's not a lot for Broadway. And but capacity did rise. Capacity went up to 75%. That's the highest in 4 weeks. So people are getting back to the theater. They're seeing shows. As I say every week, go see a Broadway show. Go see a Broadway show. They need your support now more than ever. And I also want to say what I saw this week, which is great. Thankfully, sorry, there were 2 old men fighting outside, so it was that was a bit distracting. Thankfully, theater is getting the recognition that it needs in Hollywood. I know West Side Story and Dear Evan Hansen and Tick, Tick, Boom have been nominated for all sorts of awards. They just won. I know the Golden Globes. We had I believe Andrew Garfield won at Golden Globes, and Aaron at the Boys. And then I think that the Oscars are definitely going in the favor of West Side Story or Tick, Tick, Boom. Anyway, it makes me so happy to see that theater is being recognized where it should be in Hollywood, and we're finally sort of getting to see theater in mainstream and not just in our community here in Broadway. So just wanted to say that. And with that, I'm very excited now to welcome our special guest. He is so incredible. I have been following his career for quite some time. He is an international known music star. He is a composer, a writer, a lyricist, performer, and he is just one of the most incredible people that I've ever met. And you are going to learn so much from him. Please help me welcome the incredible, the one, the only, Michael Mott.
Yeah, Michael.
Way to go, Mikey.
Hi, Michael.
Hi. What an intro.
Well, it's so very true.
It's very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have my water with me.
Oh, that's all right. Yes, it's what that's here for.
Oh,
So
okay,
we put our. So how are you?
I'm good. My getting here took a minute because the trains weren't running, so I was panicking because there were so many people on the subway platform. And I just got a lift, and here I am.
No, well, I'm so glad you were here. As I said, it's always like that here in New York.
Yeah,
You know,
unfortunately.
when you need to be somewhere, it's when it always happens.
And it's been happening the last like week for me. Like every time I have to go somewhere, the train's not running. Oh, so I'll be like, I'll take the bus, and then the bus isn't working. So
Oh,
this has
jeez.
not been my week. But yeah,
Was it? Are you on the W line? Because I know that's like suspended.
Yes.
Ah.
that's where it was.
Ah.
I'm trying to be.
Is
in
it?
the line.
Yeah, it's not.
It's W is back.
Now it's in service.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that was suspended for a while. Well,
All right,
we're,
so I'll get home okay.
well, good. I'm glad you're here. As I start every week with my guests, I'd love to know, how did you get started in the performing arts world? And was this something that you always wanted to do? Did you know as a kid growing up that you wanted to perform and be on stage and write music?
I grew up on, it was so weird actually that you say this because I had a dream last night about them, but I grew up on The Elephant Show and Sharon Lois and Bram. Anybody? Nobody? Okay. So it was the Skinnamarink Dinky Dink. Anyone? Okay, so I grew up on that. I had a dream about Sharon last night, which is really weird because I haven't thought of her in 25 years. But I grew up on that show and I would sing and play Sharon Lois and Bram with my cousins. And then I grew up listening to pop radio, and Mariah Carey, Billy Joel was on the wall over there. It makes me really happy.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to them, and then suddenly when I was in junior high, I got introduced to Saturday Night Live. And I started making my own SNLs in my basement. I converted my mom, we had like an unfinished basement and my mom let me convert it. So I had like a weekend update section. I did like our own original sketches. And I made my friends in junior high sign contracts and do weekend our own SNLs. So that's how I got into performing.
That
Yeah.
is really, really cool. I mean, how old were you when you started with SNL, when you
Like-
discovered that?
13, 14, 15. And then we did our own SNLs until I was 17. I have 86, 87 original scripts of my own stuff that I wrote. And we
Oh,
filmed them.
My God.
And then I'm such a dork. And then whoever was the musical guest the week before, I would go and film the television, and they would be our musical guest the
Oh
next
my
week.
God, I love that. I love that. And at such a young age to love Saturday Night Live like that.
Loved it.
I mean,
I made my own graphics on the computer. They were so jank. Yeah, it was
Oh my
like
God.
in Paint. I was like, it
I
was
love
so
that. It was foreshadowing for what's to come, in the sense of you love doing everything and loving
Well,
it.
now I pay a lot for those graphics.
Well,
So,
yes, but I'm saying
yeah.
in the sense of doing everything, like being sort of a multi-hyphenate and doing
Yeah.
everything on your own. You started young.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite Saturday Night Live person?
Sherry O'Terry.
Sherry
Sherry O'Terry, right?
Yeah.
Spartans, cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Ferrell. I mean, I love that whole, like that era of like Anna Gasteyer, Molly Shannon, Chris Kattan,
Oh.
Mr. P. I just showed my boyfriend Mr. Peepers. I was like, you have to watch Mr. Peepers with the apple. Bah! Like, so good.
Is your
So
boyfriend here
good.
tonight?
He is, yes. He's the one who saw Company and
Oh,
Come
no.
Away with me.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
So let me apologize then, because as you in one of your interviews you were talking about how you were friendly with your exes, and I thought the whole album was about the exes, and I apologize. I didn't realize it was your boyfriend until when I
Yeah.
said that. I thought, oh, it's great you brought your friends with you. I thought, so
You know, life's a journey, so here we are.
so Nathaniel, apology.
No, it's okay.
So I wanted to apologize because I was like, oh, it's all about your, because I was listening to one of your interviews from before, and I was like, oh, that's great, and I was so apologies,
No,
Nathaniel.
it's okay. Listen, sometimes you go through things and you learn, and life is a journey and a process.
It
And
is.
every relationship leads you back to yourself in some way or another.
It does.
And through process of writing, I've gotten closer to people I've dated in the past, and my current relationship, obviously, and
And we'll get into that more. I wanted to get back on just to finish up with Saturday Night Live. What do you think currently of the cast that they have? I know over the last few years it's kind of been hit or miss. I know there's people who have loved it, they haven't been fans. What do you think of the current people?
I mean, the show's been on for so many years that it's going to go through peaks and valleys.
It is.
I think that what they do is insane every week. The fact that they churn that show out every single week is crazy to me. And they have some hits, they have some misses, and I think the cast always does the best they can. It's like coming up with that original material every week is so hard. It takes me forever to write one song. I'm currently on a current song I'm writing. I'm on like the 12th draft of the same song, and it's still not right. So if I had 4 days to write a song, I mean, sometimes it like inspiration hits you and you just write and you create something. You're like, this is good, and I'm not going to touch it because I'm going to mess it up. But then sometimes it's very, very time consuming, and you're sitting there trying to like, what rhymes with was, you know? And I have Rhyme Zone with thesaurus.com up, and I'm like, you know.
I love that. Does anyone here watch Saturday Night Live? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's great, isn't it? It's one of my
And I love that Ariana hosted. That was incredible.
Yes.
The votes,
Oh, yes.
from it.
Yes. I have to, that's still on my Hulu. I got to go back and watch it. I have them all.
It's so
saved. I
good.
can't
It's
wait to
really
see
good.
it.
She did a
Yes.
great job. I was
Oh,
really,
I'm so
really.
proud of her. Are you friendly with her?
She was supposed to do a couple. She was supposed to do my second album.
Oh,
Spoiler alert. Abandoned Heart. She was going to do. We talked about doing one song, and then she couldn't. And then she was going to do a couple of my Michael Mott and Friends concerts, and then that didn't happen. So the most exchange we've had is via email of that correspondence, and that's it.
Well, she's such a talent. So.
She's so good.
Well, and speaking of albums, your latest album that you helped to create is the world premiere studio cast recording of In the Light, a Faustian tale. Am I saying that right? Faustian. Where did this idea come from? How did you come up with it? I understand Faustian, because I had no idea what it meant, is selling your soul to the devil, and it's based on the German legend. So tell me about that. How did this come about? And you've got, I have to say, it's got some great people. Jeremy Jordan is leading it, Sierra Renee, some great folk.
Saleha Pfeiffer, Antonio Cipriano.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great cast. I'm very proud of that. Speaking of writing things for forever, I started that in high school with a friend at the time, and we kind of, tried to create something that was epic and inspired by Les Mis and Phantom, because that was like, we were so attracted to that.
Yeah.
And then I went off to college and he went off to college, and it just, nothing ever happened. And I started writing a little bit, and then it wasn't until about 2012 or so that a few years later that I decided to like, oh, maybe there's something here. And so I had met a director named Jeff Whiting, who I was an actor, and Diane Paulus directed me in the first production of Kiss Me, one of the first productions of Kiss Me Kate at Glimmerglass Opera House, and Jeff was the assistant director.
Okay.
And it was the first time the Opera House had done a musical. So Jeff was incredible, and I was so moved by working with him that I was like, I wrote this musical, can you help us? And so he took a look at it, and for about 3 years we did table reads, and we kept rewriting and fixing, and it wasn't working. And so Jeff brought on a new book writer, and Nathan Wright and I worked on the piece, and then for about 4 or 5 years we churned out what it is now, which is In the Light, a Faustian tale. Went through massive changes, it's very different. And during the pandemic, I went to people and I raised a whole lot of money, and we recorded the entire album virtually. Wow. So we did a 40-piece orchestra in Vienna and a 30-person choir in Vienna, all overseas through Zoom. And then we did all the vocals one at a time here. I recorded with my co-producer, Joshua Zecker-Ross. And we did everything through Zoom, except Jeremy Jordan's vocals we did in person, and Saleha Pfeiffer's vocals we did in person. But everything else was through Zoom.
I mean,
it's crazy.
It is crazy, because for being through Zoom, I mean, you wouldn't even,
It was done one at a time over like 4 months.
Oh, well, even so, I mean, the quality is incredible.
Thanks,
and I figured it was during the pandemic, and it was probably filmed virtually because of when it was released.
Yeah.
But even the music video with
Jeremy,
so
those were all done on iPhones. I filmed Jeremy's on my phone, actually, in his basement.
Oh, wow.
But then Sierra, Saleha, and Antonio all recorded. We gave them very specific instructions, like film at this rate, in this, in this lighting, and we gave like lighting samples. And then my wonderful editor, Ben Bogart, put them together, and we added special effects, and we made the videos through an iPhone.
Wow.
So on a budget.
Project.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You know what? When you're on a budget, you got to do it. But
Listen, a shoestring budget.
And a shoestring budget, and a lot of times it still turns out incredible, because that was a good music video.
I feel like when you are forced to have no money and you're backed against a corner is when you're forced to be the most creative. If you have the biggest budget in the world, you get spoiled. And when you have no money and you're trying to figure it out, which is like my whole career at this rate, you get crafty.
Yes.
And surrounded by amazing, incredibly talented people. But
of course,
you really do get, like, how do we have an iPhone and 4 Broadway superstars? How do we make something happen?
Yeah. And
You know,
how did,
that's literally.
exactly. How you got them to say yes to do it too? I mean, that
Well,
is-
I use Jeremy as leverage because we
Yes.
went to college together. So I'll be like, Jeremy's doing it. Can you do it?
Yeah, so I was just say clearly you and Jeremy are friends. I assume. Were you in the same class together or?
Yeah, and we were roommates, we housemates. Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing.
Mhm.
That is incredible. I have Jeremy. If you're watching, I have the biggest crush on you. I know you're married, but
Well,
he's great. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Soleil is just a talent. I mean, she is.
she can sing.
She
can
is
sing.
going. I mean,
And she can act. That's storytelling.
oh yeah.
I remember I was sitting, she was recording, there's a song that for her character sings called She's Not Me. And I was in the control room and she was singing. We were in this like very fancy studio. We did have money for that album
Yeah.
because I raised it for like 9 months. So that we were able to have a huge recording studio. And I remember sitting in the control room and hearing her sing She's Not Me. And I was like, I could do this every single day of my life. This is incredible. And her storytelling, I would just give her like little notes like, I think you're thinking about this here, maybe try this. And she'd do it and then it would go in such a crazy other direction and we'd be like, okay, let's try this. And it was just, it's like putty having these like
Yeah.
amazing people at your disposal working on something and you're like, can you try this? Can you do this? And then putting it together is my favorite part.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have like 16 takes and you're like, the she's of this take is great and the not of this take and you're putting it together and you're creating this like beautiful thing. That's my favorite part.
And have you? I guess you've learned over time what sounds best and with the different takes of what to use. Is that something or is that something you're still constantly learning as it goes?
It's just honestly, it's like for me, I love making a record
Mhm.
because there's endless possibilities. I like
Right.
it so much better than sitting down to. I hate writing. I
Really?
hate writing.
Oh,
I love having written.
Okay.
That's a Billy Joel quote, and he says it, and I'm like, that's exactly how I feel.
I love
I
that.
hate sitting down to write because I'm like, what if I suck? What if nothing happens? I don't know what I'm doing. But then when it's done,
Mhm.
I love it, and I'm like, this is great.
Wow.
But recording, I love because there's endless possibilities and you have the bones in front of you, and it's just how you build upon those bones. So having an incredible singer like Soleil do 16 takes, I'll listen to every single one and pick the best parts and then put it together.
That is incredible.
So that's how that works.
Now, as far as with you said the funds yourself for this with it. What advice would you give to those? I know a lot of us here are all creatives on our own, right? We have our own projects we're working on. Because I'm very fascinated by this. I've done it for myself, but I love to have others who have done it share the advice. What would you say to those people who are trying to raise projects for fun, be it an album or be it a project? It sounds like it's not your first walk in the park with doing it. How
but
would you
maybe
do
my
it?
last.
And
It's
what would you
exhausting.
recommend?
Honestly, it's a lot of trial and error, and I
Mhm.
used to have no shame. I used to have so much shame, and now I have no shame because you're like, "Hi, I need $175,000 to make this album," and people are like, "What?" Some people, and then you find the right people who want to invest, and who. What I've learned is that there is so much money out there,
Oh yeah, there is.
and while I may not see it,
Mhm.
the projects do.
Oh yeah.
And these people, if they make their money back, will invest in it. And I never thought that I would have this kind of career or
Mhm.
life. I just wanted to create and perform.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, if I want to make it happen, I have to do it because no one's doing it for me. And so I would I started with a family friend for my first album, Where the Sky Ends. And he was very helpful. He gave me money and he made his money back many, many times so far.
Many times.
So
yes.
he's very happy. And then he just did actually a new song that's coming out. It's actually coming out tomorrow.
Wow.
But I've been teasing it on social media. But
Yes.
he funded this new one. And if you treat them well, they treat you well. But
They do. Yeah.
sometimes the In the Light album was many hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that took a very long time. And we did an Indiegogo campaign,
Mhm.
and we raised a fraction of the money there, and then I had to go to people privately to raise the rest. But it's honestly my least favorite part. I hate it.
Yeah.
I really hate it.
Yeah.
I just want to create. I don't want
agree.
to beg people for money and
I
then
agree.
figure out you get 25% back, and I have to
Mhm.
get the check and then mail it. And I'm like, I hate this.
Oh,
I hate
yeah.
that part.
And figure it out. And yeah, it's
I'm just being real for
I
you.
know. I agree. I mean, listen. I love that you said that. That there's people out there who will.
There's so much money in this world.
And I didn't realize that. And there's so much
Yeah.
money out there, and so much people who are even willing to, not even if they know, let's say they may not make their money back on a certain project or on a certain show, they're still willing to donate. I mean, or not donate, but to invest.
Yes, no, but
And
there are people. I'm sorry to be.
No,
there
no.
are people who have donated. People are just like, here you go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're the best human being that's ever walked this earth. Thank you so much. Because it is crazy hard, and a lot of the people are working really cheap
Yeah.
because they realize that like it's not what it once was, where there's hundreds of thousands to make a song,
No.
you know, and yeah, it just kind of is what it is, and we're very grateful and thankful to those people who believe in the art and want to keep it alive and have the means necessary to do that, and it's a write-off for them
It is.
and or investment for them. You know, it's wild, and I've learned a lot because I did not go to school for this.
Oh yeah.
I've been stumbling on my face figuring it out, and we're thankful to those who do support the arts. So,
And yes, and that's the way that you have to do it, and you learn and
Yeah.
everything in between. And I'm sure it's been a great lesson for you. So that's great to know. So for those watching and for those out there, if you are you have a project that you are doing, reach out to your network and see. You never know who you know, and it's, as you said, it's incredible just how much money is out there, or who you know that knows someone.
Yeah.
If they believe in you and they love you, they will do it. So
and it helps to make a very transparent budget
yes.
of like, lighting,
Mhm.
sound,
Yeah.
mixing, mastering, and then people are like graphics, social media promo, all the things, and then people see, why is this $85,000?
Yeah.
Well, here you go, and then people understand, and then at least you're being transparent and clear, and no one feels like they're being duped. And
Yeah, exactly. Well, another album that you recently released was called The Only One. It was an EP. And that album, it was great. You said it was one of your more personal albums. It was about love and loss. And it's such a relatable album, I feel like, that everyone can relate to.
oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, what made you decide to write that album and to get so personal? I mean, I know in listening to it, for me, there was so many songs, especially, and I'm going to get it wrong, is it called Jason's Song, right? Is that what it's
James's song.
James's song.
Yeah,
Especially, and that's another one that I liked and had it playing all day on
Uh-huh.
Spotify.
Thank you.
The lyrics and everything is just so relatable. We've all gone through loss on our end, I'm sure, with people that we've loved. I've certainly have, and it was so relatable and so beautiful. So what made you decide to get so vulnerable and write that? Because you're a songwriter, but it's very vulnerable, I feel, to put yourself out there like that. And I think
I
it's
appreciate
beautiful.
that. Yeah, thank you. Well, honestly, I mean, I say that album is my, I'm the 35-year-old irrelevant Taylor Swift.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going through some personal stuff at the time, and I wanted to write a pop EP and capture moods and moments with characters, and I thought that I would make it accessible to my musical theater audience by
Mhm.
creating characters that they could relate to.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be abstract, but to feel like a 20-minute experience. So if you listen from track 1 to track 6, it's meant to be listened to in order, right?
Yeah.
I think there's 6 tracks on that. I forgot, actually. Maybe 4, 5. I don't remember. But however I wrote it, I think it's 6. It's meant to be listened to in order. And yet, you can take each one out separately and have it be its own mood and moment.
Yes.
And so we created a visual narrative for that as well, which is on YouTube. And Blaine Krause is my love interest. Sierra Renee and Pia Toscano are the supposed to be narrators. But
Yeah, I was excited
very
about Pia
abstract.
Toscano. I mean,
I love Pia Toscano. I loved her on American Idol
I did too.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And I remember, it's so funny how life works, because I can say that's in your knee, sorry.
No, oh, please.
I'm
I'm a touchy person.
I was
Sorry.
watching American Idol in like 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I'm going to write for her. I'm going to work with her. And I
Wow.
set that intention before I was even writing. I was just like, I'm going to write with this girl.
Uh-huh.
Like, I was writing always like as a closet composer, but
Right.
like officially writing. And so I was like, I'm going to write for her. And I told her, after I had met her, I was like, I've been manifesting this for 10 years and I didn't realize it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she's the best. I have a new song that I've written that I was like, I want you to duet with this with someone on. And she's like, okay.
She,
I was like,
and
okay.
she is incredible. And
She's
I
amazing.
I loved when I heard that name because I hadn't heard it in a bit. And so it was wonderful. I was like, oh my gosh, Pia Toscano.
She's
I loved
singing
her.
with Andrea Bocelli all over the world.
Really?
Doing The Prayer in his tour, like in his concert tour.
She was so
She's
talented.
amazing.
I loved American Idol. I mean, that was
Yeah.
it was and it was up until 2010 or 11. Then it changed, I think, after that. And once they got, I think it was after season 11 or 12, and like I couldn't keep up with it, and this format changed, and they had so many.
Yeah, I
Did
watched
you watch
it.
most of it?
I only watched up until Mariah left, because Mariah's my queen.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
That's
and then Mariah, she did it for one season, and then I was done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Hey, Meg,
Yeah.
can I have some water, please? A glass of
Yeah,
ice
yeah.
water. Thank you, doll. Yes, I forgot that Mariah
Yeah.
did. It was with Nicki Minaj, right? Wasn't that season with her,
And
right?
Keith Urban
And
and
Jennifer Lopez, right? Or no? She coming after.
no, Randy Jackson.
Randy Jackson. Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
There's been so many judges.
There's so many.
I know my favorite was I think between season 4 to season 9. I think it was probably my every week. Anybody else? Did anyone else watch American Idol
Of course.
when it was on Fox?
Yes.
Yeah. For me, I would come home every week. I remember from school every Tuesday, Wednesday. It was like Tuesday would be American Idol. Wednesday was like elimination days. I was hooked. I loved it.
I don't watch a lot of television, to be honest, but
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
I think The Voice does it really well. I
Really?
love the idea of like the chair. You're only listening based on their actual voice,
Mhm.
and you can't see who they are, and you're merely judging on the tone and quality of their sound, and
Yeah.
uniqueness maybe of their voice. You know.
And I do love that concept, but you bring up an interesting point because one of my things with The Voice for me that I found is, it's almost like a turn and burn competition. I don't know who any of the winners are. The people are from it.
Yeah.
But do you feel that as a singer that part of that is because of the world of social media that we're in, where everyone is on the internet, there's so many singers and stuff, and do you feel that it's a little bit harder to sort of maybe make that stick than it was maybe 5-7 years ago because everything is on, anybody can put on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram,
Yeah.
and it's all out there, and there's so many people out there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, social media has done such wonderful things. It's given people like myself a platform that doesn't have a label. And I work with Broadway Records, but that's a distribution company. I'm talking about like a label that is, putting money into you and creating and funding the machine. Right now, we're all our own machines.
Mhm.
Fun. And how much money do you have? Like, I don't have the funds to like
No.
make something a global hit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You just hope that you get on a Spotify playlist and cross your fingers and like reach your followers and try to promote your stuff, which is why that is so important. But that's the positive of social media. But the negative is that now there's so many people and there's so many genres and styles of music. You could spend your lifetime listening and never get through it all. So it's getting harder. Everything old is new again,
It is.
and now it's suddenly hard to get noticed once more.
It is.
So
Yes,
it's
it
like,
is.
how many TikTok followers do you have? I have less than 100 because I don't care about TikTok. But I also need to care because that's the thing that's going to help. It's
It
a
is.
game, it's a cycle, and it's exhausting.
Yeah. It's a game, it's a cycle, but it's so tough. But the biggest thing I've learned is that at the end of the day, if you have that skill, that's what's important. You know how to do it because I did this boot camp this past weekend, this hosting boot camp with Marky Costello. She's one of the go-to people in Hollywood she's put more hosts on TV than anyone, and she's Hollywood royalty. She's worked with A-Rod and Jason Kennedy. But one of the things that she was saying, because she's worked with all these executives, is more and more today, we're seeing, you need to have X amount of followers, but people want people who are authentic and that can
Yeah.
also know what they're doing. So just because you may have, you have a ton of followers elsewhere, but just because you don't have many on TikTok, you are so talented, you know what you're doing. You've been doing this for years that they would rather see, authenticity and know what you're doing than the followers are slowly. It's that just based on followers starting to slowly fade out in the industry. I feel like in all around.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
slowly.
I do think that what's the word? People can sense bullshit.
Yes.
And
yeah.
if you're not passionate about what you're doing, if you don't actually care, if you're just doing it for the money, people know that. And
Right.
I think, it's a cliche, but the cream rises to the top. And if you really do care and you have the determination and maybe the stupidity to stick with it, then hopefully your time will come at some point. And it's been a really rough past few months because of post-COVID and
Yeah.
there's just I'm exhausted trying to fund the things and trying to get the money. It's just hard, but I am more privileged than most and I have the ability to do it. So I might have to take a breather and take a couple months and not do it for a second
That's okay.
and focus on me and my relationship and my relationships, my families. But
And you need to do that. Everyone needs to do that. It's important to do it.
for real. And
to keep yourself healthy and better in more ways than just singing.
yeah, and it's funny because I changed careers at
Mhm.
28.
Really?
I was an actor. I went to school for performance, and so I was an
okay.
actor for 7 years of my life.
All right.
and I performed like all over the country, and like I said with Diane Paulus with Kiss Me Kate.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't happy, and I didn't realize that. I was just like, I don't know why I'm not happy. Because I was grateful, I was performing, but something was missing, and it's because I wasn't creating the way that I wanted to be the writer, not the actor. And so I made that switch, and at 28, I was like, I have to catch up. You know, other people I know have shows on Broadway, and what am I doing? And so I threw myself full force into it to be like, I'm a writer, I can do this. And you know, here I am 7 years later, and I still don't have a show on Broadway. There's things that I'm like, what am I doing? But it's a process, and I love what I'm doing. You know, it's just there's so many lessons to be learned.
And you gotta love what you do, and it takes time, and it's tough at times to say, you know, to see, how to see other people, that have the shows on Broadway are doing that, but it's like everyone's in their own field, in their own lane, and it's tough.
And like we're happy for them or not.
Oh, of course.
Everyone's on their own journey.
But but it takes time. But in the process of it, it does feel like sometimes it takes longer than it should.
Yeah.
And, But this is very interesting, and I want everyone to listen to this because you guys are going to be amazed by this. Your first album, Where the Sky Ends, which, by the way, that album artwork is just incredible.
Danny Moser.
I mean, that was incredible. Listen to this. Where the Sky Ends is his first album. Has 4.2 million streams on Spotify.
Damn, Michael.
4.2 million streams. That is unfreaking believable. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, give a round of applause. 4.2 million streams. That is, I mean, when you realize that it had hit that many, what was your initial thought?
I'd love to see a check, but it's
not?
It's a long story. We're getting there. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's incredible that people still stream, and there's a couple songs that are still on pretty big playlists.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Wow.
But I'm just forever grateful to everyone who listens to that album and supports that album and streams that album, and yeah, it really does mean a lot because there's it really did change my life, and I'm very grateful to everyone who cares.
Well, they should care because Where the Sky Ends is an incredible album. That artwork, was that you on the ladder? And are you you weren't really out in the middle of nowhere just climbing that, or was
So my friend Danny, who I did when I was an actor, I did Curious George live.
Oh.
And Danny and I were roommates.
Okay.
He was the man in the yellow hat, and I was the doorman. Talk like that. And he's this incredible artist, beautiful artist. And when I was making the album, I was like, Danny, I want you to do the artwork.
Yeah.
And so I told him my concept, and I actually wrote the last song on that album. It's called Sky.
Mm-hmm.
And the concept was that I'd be on top of a ladder above Manhattan, scattering my sheet music. And so the first version of the album is that, and it looked like I was just like littering all over Manhattan. So we cut the sheet music thing. But he took a photo of me in a park in Chinatown, walking up a ladder, and then photoshopped it into the artwork.
That's amazing. And because I'm petrified of heights, and the album is beautiful, but it gives me agita every time to look at it because I feel like I'm going to fall off the face of the earth. But it's such a cool. I mean,
Aww,
and that's the power of the great graphic design and stuff. So every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm going to fall off the slab.
Well, the idea for that was that I had moved to New York, and I was like so focused on I want to be a writer, and I want to be successful, and I want to do all these things that I was like looking down and so determined and like that.
Yeah.
That's how I describe things. I'm a writer, and I go. So my intention for the year was to look up and to notice what I was seeing, and then I thought, wow, when you look at the sky, it's like Where the Sky Ends, and I was like, that's my album title. And so that's how that came out.
I love that. Well, speaking of albums and titles, why don't we? You're going to perform for us. So why don't we get that started and tell us what you're going to be performing? You guys, as I said, are in for a real treat. I mean,
oh gosh, don't talk it up so much.
No,
I'm stressed out.
Don't stress. You are an incredible performer, and everyone here and watching is in for a real treat. What are you going to do? Sing?
I was going to do Her Embrace from In the Light, which is the big 11 o'clock number, but I feel like from talking to you earlier,
yes,
he was loving on the one that I choose, which is the opening to The Only One. That I'll do that.
Amazing. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
The song was not meant to be played on a piano. It's electronic, and it's like it's like not a piano song, so I don't know how it's gonna sound.
So
I'm gonna do my best.
whatever you want. Well, do whatever you want. So yes, everybody, Michael Mott, enjoy.
Okay. upper left. It's a trick. It's a digital piano. Okay, wait, let me get the sheet music here because I had her embrace open, but now I'm gonna switch it. So, no one cares about that song. Okay, so I wrote this with 6'5", who is a producer that you may know. He does a lot of the drag queens here in Manhattan and on RuPaul's Drag Race. We wrote this song together and made this during the pandemic. Like I said, it's not meant to be played on the piano, but go check out the EP version. It's called The One That I Choose. So I dedicate this song to my boyfriend because it's about him. Springtime, white wine, drink me in. Eyes meet, hearts beat, we begin. From the moment we met, we belong together, emancipated, everything I do. I'm hedging every bet, we can last forever, baby, me and you. Tell me that you love me and I'll say that's alright. Show me that I'm messing with the love of my life. There's nothing that I wouldn't do to keep me close to you. Oh, the one that I choose. Every other lover brought me closer to us. Never one another, you're the one that I trust. Baby, how I'm needing you. Say that you feel it too. Oh, the one that I choose. Sunrise, brown eyes, coffee skin. I kiss your lips all in. Since you've been in my life, you're my serotonin. You're securing everything you do, every day and all night. Now I'm in your zone and this is all for you. Show me that you love me and I'll say that's alright. Tell me that I'm messing with the love of my life. There's nothing that I wouldn't do to keep me close to you. Oh, you're the one that I choose. Every other lover got me closer to us. Never one another, you're the one that I trust. Baby, how I'm needing you. Say that you feel it too. Oh, the one that I choose. And if we argue and we fight each other, in the end, I hope we both choose us. Cause when we're gone, you know they'll all discover every page we wrote was filled with memories of love. You told me that you love me and I said that's alright. Show me that I'm messing with the love of my life. There's nothing that I wouldn't do to keep me close to you. Oh, you're the one that I choose. Every other lover got me closer to us. Never one another, you're the one that I trust. Baby, how I'm needing you. Say that you feel it too. Oh, you're the one that I choose. Tell me that you love me and I'll say that's alright. Yeah. There's background vocals here. Nothing that I wouldn't do to keep me close to you. Oh, you're the one that I choose. Every other lover got me closer to us. Never one another, you're the one that I trust. Baby, how I'm needing you. Say that you feel it too. Oh, you're the one that I choose. You're the one, the only one. So let me live here forever with you. You told me that you love me and I said it's alright. You showed me that I'm messing with the love of my life. There's nothing that I wouldn't do to keep me close to you. Oh, you're the one that I choose. That's got background vocals all over. I was singing, I was like, wait, how am I gonna do this? Yeah, there you go.
Thanks. Okay, literally everyone, I implore you, you must go download this album and the one that I choose. You talk about not only are the lyrics just incredible, but it is, you'll hear it on the album. or the EP. It is
There's lots of
it's
layers.
It's a feel good song. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see the reel that I made earlier today about it. It is so freaking good. Definitely go download it. Michael, thank you for that. And that was just incredible how you did that. And you said it wasn't even made for piano, but it sounded incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, listen, I like to rehearse before I do things. And I have a band when I do these shows live, and there's background singers, but you got the acoustic version
Thank you.
tonight.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But it was still really beautiful. The unplugged version.
And you got the unplugged version.
Yes.
For my unplugged EP. It's the rehearsal.
Yes, I love that. Well, speaking of unplugged and rehearsals and performances, you do a show called Michael Mott and Friends.
Yes.
At great name. At the
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll send you. I get it. I took it from my mentor, Frank Wildhorn. He does Frank and Friends.
I love it.
And then I took Michael Mott and Friends. But Frank and Friends sounds much better than Michael Mott and Friends.
No, I love that. You do it at the Green Room 42, right?
54 Below, Green
all
Room,
over.
all over.
So where did that come from, and what is what
Frank
can
and
we
Friends.
expect when we see it? Well, and
It's just my music. I have a great 6-piece band that's been playing with me for the last 5 or 6 years. And then I have a bevy of different Broadway stars that come in and sing the material. So it's either stuff from the albums, stuff from the musicals I'm writing. And I like to just do a very positive, uplifting, celebratory show. Like my show feels a lot like that song, and it's just a feel-good, positive moment. And my favorite is to do it on New Year's Eve. I've done it twice before.
Wow, really?
In a New Year's Eve show, I'm like, I don't want to do anything except do a concert, sing Auld Lang Syne, have a drink, and go home. That's what I want. Yeah, it's my favorite.
I love that. Wow. Well, do you have another show coming up of Michael Mott and Friends?
I don't. I just did one at Green Room 42. Right now I'm writing 2 brand new musicals, 2 original shows.
Amazing.
One is almost done, one is like halfway done. And I'm trying to focus on getting those done and then getting productions happening. We're talking about productions for In the Light, which, we talked about. And then I have another show called Mob Wife, which I've been writing 13 drafts of one song, 12 drafts. So that's almost done. I have to rewrite 2 songs for that, and then that show's done until it's not.
It's not based on the VH1, it's based on the
No,
VH1 series?
that's the thing. I originally started writing, I wrote a show in high school called The Life of a Mob Wife. And then
Like that.
it got a little traction. That's my family. It's like The Sopranos meets Noises Of. It's legit what it is. With a 1970s Billy Joel soundscape. So he gets it. You want to invest?
Yeah, here, have my Bitcoin.
Okay. Listen.
That's Miles. He's our credible accompanist for both
Oh,
my show
amazing.
and then after this.
I'm sorry you had to sit through that. I apologize.
No, he knows music very well.
So we're trying to get, there's some stuff happening with that. Hopefully we'll see. So I'm just trying to
exciting.
focus on the shows because that's like the
That
most
takes all
important
the
thing.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love doing these EPs.
Right,
and albums.
right.
If I could do that every day, I would. But also the shows is really what I'm trying to actually get
Yeah.
produced. So
Well, that's really exciting. I can't wait to see, and I'm great to hear that the In the Light is also being made into a musical.
It
hopefully.
is, yeah. Well,
because
it's just-
it should be the way that it is written. It's going to be in musical form for sure.
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, now's my favorite time of the night. It is trivia time, and for those of
Do I
you,
leave? Do I stay here?
no, you stay here. Stay here because we're still.
Do I stand up?
Yeah. For those of you who know, as I said, I give away some awesome prizes. So how this is going to work? This is Broadway trivia. What happens is I have 4 questions. I am going to ask the question. If you know the answer, raise your hand because there's a lot of us here. Raise your hand. The person that gets it right gets one of these prizes up here. Oh, and Meg's got the shots already, so you'll come grab a shot. I have signed playbills. I have signed stuff. We've got stuff from Adele Dazeem. Incredible things. So let's begin. Who wrote the lyrics for My Fair Lady and Camelot?
Oh, I know.
Miles.
Alan J. Lerner.
Yes, that's correct. Alan J. Lerner. Come on up and grab a shot. What did you say? You can get shots out. Hand shots out. Yes. And here for you, you get the To Kill a Mockingbird signed playbill. You have a Glasses Wipes from Little Shop of Broadway, and Don't Feed the Plants coloring pages and Measure Your Life in Love from Coloring Broadway, as well as Rental from Coloring Broadway. Enjoy.
Miles, no, not being
Alrighty, so second question. In Guys and Dolls, if Sky and Nathan were guys, then Sarah and Adelaide were.
They were guys that dates. Dolls.
Dolls, yes,
Dolls,
correct,
yeah.
correct. Yes, correct. All right, come on up.
Is this a trick question?
No, no.
Well, that's why I said dames first, and I'm like, hold it.
Well, don't scream it out, and no, it's not.
My second professional job ever was
title of the show.
nicely, nicely.
Oh, really?
My
I love
audition.
that.
I dreamed last night. I did
Oh
it
my
all
God,
in the
amazing.
freaking time.
So you get these two cute little stickers, including one that I'm proud to be a musical theater, and you get the awesome prize, this skin-tight signed flyer by Adele Dazeem, Adina Menzel herself, hand-signed after the show. So here you are, some exciting theater swag, and the shot. Enjoy. Woo! Thank you, thank you. And remember, don't call out the answer. All right. Well, except if you're Jared, you can do it. You can do that.
I'm behind you. You can't see me. So
Robert Preston and Barbara Cook starred in the original cast of this musical, which is currently back on Broadway as a revival.
Miles, put your hand down.
The Music Man.
The Music Man, that's correct.
I know
Yes.
every single one of these, and I thought I'd suck.
Well, here's the thing. Here's
Okay.
the thing. I've done this every week, and I've made the answers I thought so easy. And I was, they're so easy. And every week I stump people. No one can get them. And they're so this week I thought, oh, I found these. And I'm like, some of these do sound, the guys and dolls and simple, but a lot of people didn't. So here you go, Michael. These are Moulin Rouge tattoos and a signed Lion King playbill. This is from Coloring Broadway. As I've said in the past, a lot of these wonderful donations for gifts are from the Broadway Makers Marketplace at the Columbus Circle Underground Market. If you are down there, check it on out. If you go down to, what?
yeah, no, I'm just shook at this. Let me give this to somebody.
No, you got it correct.
Shot, first of all.
Okay, I get your shot.
Well, yeah, you got it correct. As I said.
We need some blue chew up here.
So you got it correct. The person who gets it correct gets it. So, alrighty. So this is the final question. So everyone get ready. I have one more prize left. And which line was the longest running musical on Broadway at that time? What line was the longest running musical on Broadway at this time? Yes. What line was the current?
line?
Which line was the longest running musical on Broadway at this point in time? Which line was at that time was the current most longest running musical on Broadway at this time? Yeah.
Like a line from a musical?
No, so it's referencing something that is the show is about. So a line sort of like people.
Oh, so it is, yeah. It is that other thing that everybody.
So don't shout it out. What were you gonna say?
Darren, put your hand up. Darren's got her hand up.
A chorus line. Yes, okay. Amazing. Darren, here you are.
I'm here on your line.
Right, I always get the prizes. You can just give it to someone else.
No,
I always get the prizes.
okay, well, listen, then if anybody, yes, you guys always say this, I need to get rid of these prizes, and so it's a signed Frozen playbill, and we have a Beetlejuice coloring Broadway. We also have a Broadway West 42nd Street coloring page as well. So if you guys don't want it, it's here, whoever wants it. You want it? Yes,
Do you want a signed Lion King playbill? I feel like
Which
this
do you
is
want?
too nice for me to take.
whatever you want.
Yes, please. Yes.
You're welcome.
From the day we arrived on this
Enjoy.
planet.
Of course. Well, what's your name? Linda. Hi. Thank you
Linda,
for-
Eder, love you. Love your work.
Oh, you're first saying, well, thank you for coming on out. I hope to see you. This is the fun time
Wow,
here.
you made out like a bandit.
Yeah, first time, and you're getting double the prizes. Linda, thank you. This is what happens here at Live with Rye Friends on Broadway.
Listen, Linda.
This is what happens here at Live with Rye Friends on Broadway. I don't kid around, folks. As I've said to you in the past, we've given out Amazon gift cards, West Side Story tickets. We give out signed
Who's
playbills.
funding this? They need to fund
Well,
my albums.
Well, yes. We can talk to Jared. Who were the people that funded our West Side Story and Amazon gift cards? It was part of West Side Story, but we've given out some great gifts and signed playbills.
That's
So
incredible.
listen, for those watching and those here come out week after week, because you never know what I'll have.
Who put out what side? Sony, right?
What?
Sony put out what side, or?
It was Netflix, I think, right?
Well, definitely not Netflix. The movie company that put it out, Sony,
Oh.
Paramount, whatever movie company it was out, they called me.
Interesting.
And said, hey, I have the
Well,
promotion.
thank you everyone for playing. Let's give everyone a round of
Yeah,
applause.
good job.
Round of applause for everyone for playing. So, Michael, as with everything that you do, one of the other things you do is you do master classes and you coach.
Yeah.
How did that get started, and what brings you the most joy with doing that?
Oh, I love it, actually. It started because when I was a musical theater major at Ithaca College, I told my teacher, my professor Carol McCamus, that I wanted to not move to New York and wait tables, which of course I ended up doing. But I wanted to teach.
Mhm.
And I was like, I would love to like make a side career teaching.
Wow.
And I studied under her, and then I ended up teaching all of the acting majors at Ithaca. So I've been teaching now for like 16 years, but of course in New York you need like 7 jobs to live.
Yeah.
So I waited tables, I auditioned, I coached, as my career has taken off and as the albums have become more and more prominent, it's allowed me to do master classes at different colleges and universities around the country. So I love it. I love it so much. I learn so much from coaching someone and working on technique with someone. And then they teach me like what's cool. Like I'll be like, what about this song? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All right, so this is from my era. That's like I'm ancient now. You know? So I
know
learn
the
a lot.
kids today.
Yeah, like if every girl, if not what everyone is singing, "She Used to Be Mine," which is like not anymore. Like it was a hot thing. Listen, a couple years ago, that was what every girl
was.
and waving through a window. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you get to just see like what is resonating with people.
Yeah, well, and I say that because I mean,
I'll be like, let's try "If I Loved You," and they're like, oh.
yeah, well, and I say that because I mean, I think you've done Broadway Con before, right?
Yeah.
And I say that because I did Broadway Con the last 2 years. Broadway Con happened. They have this booth where everyone can go and sing a song, and every single gosh darn song was "She Used to Be Mine." And I was there all weekend covering for press, and and I think at one point actually they did ban. They said no more because it was like it was Sunday, it was final day, so. I'm just tired of "She Used to Be Mine," so that's why I said that.
It's
I was
such a
just
good
like,
song.
It's beautiful,
so
but
good.
it's
Did you see Kelly Clarkson's cover of it?
no. She
What?
did.
Oh my god!
It's
Really?
so good. It's like I didn't know I
Did you
needed
see
that.
it? You guys saw it?
She did it on her show, and
Oh
like
my
it
God,
went
no.
viral on Twitter. It was just like she was
I-
incredible.
No,
It went
I didn't
viral
know
on
that.
Twitter. That's how you know I'm 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that is
Like, it went viral on Twitter.
Oh,
So
wow.
cool.
Now that I'd love to see
Yeah,
that.
it's
I'm
real
I'm
good.
gonna have to
Go
watch
check
that.
it out.
So, somebody that wants to coach with you, where can they, find out with coaching with you, and what do you offer for them? Like, is it just vocal coaching? Do you work on repertoire stuff? Do you work on
Yeah.
college auditioning prep?
I do all of the above, but mainly because I am a writer. I'm a former actor, but like that's still in you forever, you know.
course.
And I studied technique and pedagogy at Ithaca, so I bring all of that to whoever student needs it. So if you're working with me and suddenly I realize your technique is great, your interpretation is great, but maybe you don't understand the musicality of why the song is written that way, I'll work on that with you. If for some reason like you don't understand what the song's about, we'll talk about interpretation and why the song is written the way it is and analyze it and break it down into beats and subbeats and blah, 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 blah. It really just depends on what the person needs.
Yeah.
But my favorite is teaching technique. I love teaching
Yeah.
vocal technique.
And do you find that the technique is sort of the strongest, the one thing that people really do struggle on the most?
I think it's different. It depends like who they, I mean, it depends if they're fresh out of school, then they're all technique and they're just thinking and they have to get out of their head and into their bodies, you know? It's very different depending on who it is. I teach a lot of people in their 40s, 30s and 40s, and it's the technique is slipped. So it's going back to the technique, you know?
Okay.
So it really just depends. And I love it.
Yeah.
I learn so much. And then,
Really? That's
yeah,
great.
I learn a lot. It's great.
Well, and that's the best thing you can do is when you learn so much on top of being able to give your service, but for you to learn something, I mean, that
Well, it feels like I'm connected to the community still rather than just writing and like not being part of it. I don't know.
yeah.
I have to do it.
I love that.
I would
And-
never stop.
And are you doing a lot virtually now? Or you do
A lot. Yes.
And even during the pandemic,
Mhm.
part of it, were you doing
Yeah,
it
I set up a
virtually?
whole studio at home. I have a whole like home studio set up, and
great.
yeah, I'm really excited. So if you want to coach with me, you can check out michaelmott.net
Yes.
or Twitter.
Yes, and if you want to, he's coached some great people. He's got testimonials on there from some pretty great people. I was looking at them, and again, because I didn't write them down, but there are some great people who've done Broadway. Who
Yeah, a
are
lot of my
in,
students,
in the
Hamilton,
industry. Yeah,
and
Hamilton.
West Side Story movie.
Yes.
Oh
So
gosh,
it's
all
you know,
over Aladdin.
yeah. And with these master classes that you do, what do you teach? What is usually the main topics of that master class, or do they vary?
They always vary, but it's primarily I've done songwriting master classes, musical theater songwriting, introduction to MT songwriting, and musical theater versus pop songwriting, what that is. But they're mainly master classes for performance technique. A lot of people will audition and come in and sing their song, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, let's talk about how you just walked into the room. Let's talk
Yeah.
about how you presented your music to the pianist and was like, and why that's not nice.
Don't do that.
Let's talk about your slate. Let's talk about like who's the other person you're singing to. Why? What is your objective? And then technique. It just honestly, it completely depends on the person and what they need, and I'm very malleable to them.
Well, so I guess then that's a great thing to ask them. What is that you see one of the biggest things as a coach that a lot of performers, I don't want to say necessarily are doing wrong, but one of the things that you're seeing sort of as a constant repeat pattern that should really be avoided that you're seeing your students do.
So there's
Hopefully it's not snapping at the
no.
the
There's-
music director.
There's a difference between a pop song and a musical theater song and how to perform
Yeah.
and how to tell a story. A lot of pop songs are moods, and in my opinion, the best musical theater song is a story song that goes from point A to point Z. So how do you, if you're singing a pop song, depending on the show you're auditioning for, is how you perform that song.
Right.
So if you're auditioning for Jersey Boys, Mary Sugarman wants to see you just like rock it out and be in the booth. But if you're auditioning for Moulin Rouge, you better be telling me a story with that same song. And you go from point A to point Z and you tell your story differently depending on what the song is.
Yeah.
So it's being malleable for that and just reading the room and knowing what the role you're auditioning for is. And what the song choice is.
Yeah.
Because if you're singing, you know, I don't know why I just thought of Hark the Herald Angels Sing, but if you're singing on the street where you live for Moulin Rouge, you're probably off base.
Yeah, you definitely need to know what you're coming in for and what
Yeah.
what you're singing and everything.
Like me singing Her Embrace in this is like a pop crowd. So like, you know what I mean? There's like a pop vibe in this room. So like,
but still listen to Her Embrace and in the
yeah,
light.
please listen to it. Thank you.
Because listen, it's you said it earlier, and I was trying to think earlier today. Like the first thing that came to mind when I was listening to In the Light was this sound. It gave me Hunchback vibes and like a really
That's a
great,
reference
like,
that people make, and I'm
and-
like, okay, cool.
But
An incredible score.
it is, and but you said Phantom and Les Mis, and I can't believe I didn't think of that. And sort of put all three of those together, and this is what In the Light is. It is incredible. Not only does it have Jeremy Jordan and Sierra Renee, Bobby Connie Thornton, and,
Oh yeah, Bobby.
Antonio Cipriani. It is really, really good if you really love musicals that are strong and not that are dark, but in a storytelling way. You need to listen to this. It is such a good one. So make sure, and it's based on the German.
It's inspired by the Faust legend,
by
but
the
it's
Faust
completely
legend.
original. It's
Yeah.
completely original.
So listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. So Michael, as we wrap up here, what is next for you that you are currently working on, or things that you can share? I know you were talking about a single that is dropping it tonight.
Sure. Yeah, I have a new song that's coming out. It actually doesn't come out tomorrow, but the pre-save is tomorrow
Okay.
on the pre-order on iTunes.
Oh, nice.
But it's a new song, and we just shot a music video. We're currently editing the video. It's really beautiful, and
Uh-huh.
actually, it's the first time I'm working with my boyfriend together.
Wow.
He directed the video. I'm very proud of him.
Congratulations to your boyfriend.
It's really incredible. He like had a vision, and he was like, "Here's what you need to do." And it's kind of amazing because when you're with someone, you trust them.
Yes.
And he's seen everything I do. And I was like, I have an idea for this video. And I told him, he's like, ugh, you've done that so many times. and
Honesty is the way
and
to go.
he was like,
Honesty
I
is the
think
way
you need
go.
to like do this. And he gave me, I was like, oh, you want to put it together? And he did. And I was like, wait, this is genius, actually.
That is.
And we whipped it up. I mean, we worked with a great team of people. But it's gonna be out in a couple weeks, and so if you check out my social media, you'll see what's up.
Yes, exciting. And what's your social media handles for those who
At Michael_Mott.
yes.
There you go.
Follow
Like the
him
applesauce.
on
Yes.
social media? Yes, follow
I
him on
heard it my
social
whole life.
media.
Thank you.
Follow him on social media. Go to michaelmott.net. Before we end, because I am curious, because it's such a big deal. I mean, we talked about 4.2 million downloads on Spotify, and I mean, you don't have to go into fully, but what, you haven't been paid yet from it? Or you're still waiting for that?
I'm
I mean,
being sarcastic.
at
I've
4.2
been
million,
paid. I've been
I was
paid.
gonna say,
It's just like that. It's yes. No, I've been
Is
paid.
there a process
There's-
when you have
It's a
any music
process.
that-
Well, there's a lot of ways to make money on a song. You make, I mean, no one cares about this, but there's like 4 or 5 ways to make money on a song. You can make it from streams, which is minimal.
Yeah.
You know, I say that to say that, you know, you need like 1,500 streams to make $1. So please,
Did anyone know that?
please download.
Did anyone know that? This is the
You
thing,
know,
it's very interesting.
streaming is not.
You know?
We love streaming
Yeah.
as listeners, but as artists, you know, one song can cost $7,000-8,000 to make. And then, you know, you need 1,500 streams to make $1, and you're like, I'm in debt, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I say. I haven't been paid. That's what I mean. It's just like, please. But no, I mean, you make it from, there's streaming money, there's mechanical royalties, which is the writer's royalties, there's artist royalties for the singers,
Yeah.
and then there's publishing and copyright. So there's all ways to make money on songs.
Yeah.
But
Well, a
yeah.
lot of people don't know that. I mean,
I didn't know
a lot
it
of
until
people didn't
6
know
years
that,
in.
You
I was
know,
like, oh.
that nitty gritty of it, and didn't know that. So it's it's great. So, well, Michael, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so much.
being here.
Thank you for doing this for our community.
Oh, my pleasure.
And
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I appreciate it so much. It means so much to me that you all came
I'm
out.
leaving,
This
I'm
is
leaving.
Live with Rye Friends on Broadway. Thank you, Michael. This was wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Hey, listen, make sure you tip your server, Meg. She is wonderful. Tip your server, Meg. She's wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Listen, I've got some great upcoming guests. Next week, on February 3rd, we have the incredible Hannah Cruz. She's been seen on the first national tour of Hamilton as Eliza. Then on February 10th, we have Eric Ulloa. He is been on Broadway. He's written several musicals. He's going to be here. And listen, a little schedule change so you all know. Starting next week, I will be here from 7:30 to 8:30. But Mass and Musicals, which is usually right after me, will be moving to Tuesday nights, 8:30 to midnight. After my show, we'll be dueling pianos from 9 to midnight. So Thursdays we'll be dueling pianos from 9 to midnight, and Mass and Musicals is moving to Tuesday. And finally, thank you, everyone. Keep up with me at Rye_Myers. I will see you next week. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, Rye. Masks and Musicals will start in 10 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone.